Hey everyone, I'm Boots.
And I'm Coco.
It's a beautiful morning here at Cocoism, the podcast. I'm so happy to have this moment today. Our guest is an actress, writer, sobriety advocate, creative, and fellow podcaster. Please join me in welcoming the incredible Kristen Bear to the Cocoism family.
Wow. Thank you, guys.
Hi.
So happy to be here. How are you?
My gosh, doing fantastic. We made it through January. Hey.
Longest month ever.
Literally. Oh, God. The month that never could end. Oh.
Even on the last day, I was like, wow, we're still in January, you know?
Yeah.
And then that full moon on the 1st kind of, I feel like, cleansed us of all of January. Even though we still have a little residue, we're working through it. We're taking our steps. We're doing all the things.
God, I hope so. I hope it cleansed us because I need a palate cleanser. I need February to be like that girl because last month really stretched me.
It really, really did. I love your Instagram page, Creative Sobriety. And that was something that really kind of helped me get through my January because, you know, if we're talking about dry January or whatever's going on, I love the concept of creative sobriety because it really speaks to me as a sober creative. And, you know, your page is about crushing stigma, cultivating community for sobers and sober curious. Could you tell us a little bit more about yourself, Kristen?
Yeah, thank you. So I will be 6 years sober at the end of February 26, 2020. So I was one of those unlucky people that decided to get sober right before COVID. And honestly, it was a blessing because I think there was some kind of divinely timed reset for me. And I think if I hadn't quit drinking before COVID, I think that year would have really taken me down, just left to my own devices. But when I decided to quit, I knew that I just didn't want to do anything traditional. I didn't want to do anything that was kind of out there, prescribed. I wanted my own thing. I wanted to remain super creative and super individual. And I just didn't relate to this idea that I needed a label or a diagnosis or a prescription for sobriety. I knew that it was just about being really real and honest with myself about why I drank and the things that haunted me, the things I carried, the things that were heavy that I couldn't process, that I couldn't deal with. And so I spent that first year really doing that. Just sitting alone, reading, writing, praying, like just me and my spirit. And I hadn't done that in such a long time. And so the growth that came out of that and the things I learned from that is what inspired Creative Sobriety. This idea that this thing that I was so afraid to give up is actually the thing that was holding me back from my greatest potential, you know, my most joy, my most creative self. And so that's where that started. And that's what I wanted to share. And that's still what I want to share is like alcohol is this very, very small thing that, you know, takes more than it gives. And you can be a juicy, sexy, awesome, beautiful, fun, creative person without any of it, you know? And I'm just a creative soul. I write, I act, I'm very into just creating things and I want to keep that whimsy in my life and spontaneity. I used to think that was alcohol, you know, and it's not.
I love how you shared that. When you talk about being like diagnosed or like having like a title, did you kind of have not like a connection like to do like a 12-step program or you just felt like you were able to do it on your own? How did that come about?
Yeah. So when I kind of was realizing I need to quit drinking, I think it was probably 6-8 months before I actually quit drinking. And I didn't know any sober people. I was living in LA at the time. and there was a girl who I worked at a restaurant in West Hollywood with. She was also an actress, and she was sober. And I remember kind of making friends with her. You know, we were cool at work, and she was a, you know, rad chick, whatever. And she invited me to go to an AA meeting. So this girl invited me to an AA meeting, and I was very much in denial. Like, I did not want to quit drinking. I did not want to be sober at all. So that certainly colored my experience. But I remember going to this meeting, and everybody who shared seemed very unhappy. And the guy that particular day, the guy who was speaking, he was very entertaining. I'll give him that. But his story was so far beyond anything I could relate to. You know, it was like, yeah, one beer led to giving blowjobs in the Walmart parking lot for meth, you know? And I'm like, that's not relatable to me. I I don't think that I belong here. That's what I walked away feeling. And I didn't like it. I didn't like the language. I didn't like calling myself an alcoholic. It felt very minimizing to my experience. I'm a very complex person, and my thought was that doesn't do any justice to the fullness of my life, the trauma that I've survived, my experience. Why I drink is not a word, you know? That was my feeling. And as a woman, particularly, I was not keen to say that I was powerless to one more thing. So it felt very antithetical to like what I was trying to create, which was freedom, power, all of these things. So all of that to say, so much respect for AA. Most of my friends got sober that way. A lot of them are still in it. But I like to give validation and voice to the people who don't find the same inspiration there, who just can't get into it, right? It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It doesn't mean you can't also be sober. You can do it your way. Like, there's no rules, man, you know?
Totally. There's no rule. There's no rules. I think for me, like, I wonder with how you explain that. Do you think that, for me as a gay male here in West Hollywood, starting my sobriety journey November 3rd of 2024, I walked into those rooms here, right? AA, not knowing what to expect or if I would relate. But when I think about how you're explaining that, I wonder if like in my meetings, I feel like they're 95% men.
Hmm.
And gay men. Whether I related or maybe didn't relate to every story, there was some sort of comfort there, and I think that ultimately is what kept me coming back. I didn't really relate to the blowjobs in the parking lot myself, but still, there was these little pieces that I was in such a shitty place of life, and I am someone who really thrives in community. And being kind of a newcomer to LA, leaving my life in San Francisco, and then dealing with all of the abuse of alcohol and all like the crashing and like, really just like being an awful person, I needed something. So when I walked through those doors, I I really found something that worked for me, and it was yeah, Alcoholics Anonymous in a way that I don't know, I can identify with a lot of it, right? And I think that community aspect that I was talking about really spoke to me because I don't know, like for me being like a parent, and also being married and working with my spouse, um and not really having a lot of friends here, it really like invited me in, and I was able to like have I don't know, have that to lean on, and it's helped me in this journey. But I totally understand what you're saying. Like it can be so different. I can imagine maybe if I was like a woman in going into these rooms, like I don't know if I would feel so welcomed or connect. But
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that the core experience of AA is what works. Like hearing yourself in another person, right? Like that's what heals us. So, I think that's why it's so powerful. It's like, oh, I'm not alone in this thing. I'm not the only person who's struggled here. And I think I found that in other ways. I didn't like the language of AA. I didn't like the big book. I didn't like some of the wording. And so I chose to find that same thing somewhere else. You know, I did it in podcasts. I binged podcasts 8 hours a day the first 3 months of my sobriety. I got online and I met people. That's kind of how the whole Instagram thing started. It was like, I got to meet women who are also feeling like I'm feeling, who also want the same experience that I want. And so I started meeting people online, reading the books, meeting up for coffee with people that I connected with in town. And like, that's how it worked. But that first year was COVID. So I was home alone. It was me and a podcast, me watching videos, reading books all day long.
Wow. You know, and unlike the two of you, I can definitely attest to the parking lot situations, because
Sure.
I'm not sober, but I definitely, through Boots's sobriety journey, I found this new relationship with myself and what I want to do and what I don't want to do. And hearing your story is really empowering too, because it's like whatever journey it is that you want to take, you know, whether it's the three of us or whoever's watching, whatever journey that you want to take to get to the best version of yourself, it's available. You can create it. You can go do it. There's all of these avenues for it. But I was the one in the parking lot doing too many things. You know, it's like
Yeah, for
when I
sure.
go with him to meetings and I hear some of these stories, I'm like, wow, like, especially in West Hollywood, I'm like, been there, done that. And it's like hearing them again, I'm like, wow, it validates that young version of myself, just trying to find connection and love and like community, you know, coming from a small town, going into like big cities. I went from a small town to like big city, big city, big city. And that was so scary. But I wanted to put forth the energy that I wasn't scared, that I am who I am and y'all are going to love it. But in reality, I was terrified, you know?
Yeah. And also, please let me clarify that I'm not judging the man in the parking lot, because first of all, it was it was more about it was more about his A to Z point of like, I have one beer and then I'm trying to score meth. And I'm like, I don't relate to that. I drink too much and I black out and I do things and I sleep with people I don't want to. Yeah. I mean, whatever version that takes. But like, it was more like I was looking for something very specific at that time. I was looking for a woman to tell me, there's a reason you drink like this. And you're continuing something that someone else did to you and calling it resistance. You are continuing this same oppression on yourself. You know what I mean? And you're calling that freedom. And I had to go looking for that. But I don't judge the man in the parking lot. Look, I'm the girl who was also picked up off a sidewalk in New York City and put into an ambulance because apparently you can't sleep on the sidewalk in front of your ex-boyfriend's house during the middle of the day. You know, no
Oh,
judgment here.
no, it's your story is so beautiful too, because you're the whole part about the pandemic, right? And how that was for you, and how to hear everyone's story through that time, right? I think with us, that was a really like amazing time for like us as like a family, because we were able to really connect. But when it comes to alcohol, it was a really, really, really dangerous time, to the point where it's like I can't even smell wine anymore, because it just brings me back to that really awful kind of like numbing space that was. But within that, you realize that, like, it's now looking back on all of these times of like excess, and like you realize like that you're hiding, right? We're hiding from something, hiding from ourselves, to, you know, to, because we don't really want to face ourselves for whatever reason that is, you know. And I had lost my mom the year before that, so 2019, and I think that it was just this very interesting time of where it was like I was hiding from myself, from all of the things that I was afraid to face. And I love you on the podcast you did recently, you talk about grief and how it is like something that you live with. It is a part of who we are, you know, and it's okay to live with it and to not shame it. Because a lot of people will be like, oh, it's been this amount of time, you're good. But it doesn't really work that way. And I just wanted to give you love in that and being vulnerable in that space. And yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's important to talk about that, especially in the context of sobriety, right? Because people are so afraid of those things happening in their world, which are inevitable for all of us, right? We're going to lose people, we're going to experience grief, and you can do that sober. And like you said, grief doesn't go away. It becomes a part of who you are. It's like this passenger that is just with you on the ride of life after you lose someone like that. Like I lost my mom too. I was almost 2 years sober. And I didn't want to drink. I just wanted to be present. I wanted to witness this woman's life in an honorable way. You know, I wanted to be there. I wanted to see this thing through for her, for me, for my sisters. And like, yeah, grief hits you at random times. I had a wave of it last night. I had an amazing day yesterday. I was like dancing in the kitchen, you know, doing all my things, cooking. And then like yesterday evening, I'm just like sitting here doing some kind of mundane thing. And I just started weeping. Like, oh, I miss you so much, Mom. That's what's missing in my life right now is that voice and that love. And it just hits you, you know? But it doesn't ever go away. It just becomes a little bit more embodied, maybe.
I love that.
Yeah, it's beautiful to hear you guys. I feel like at that time of the pandemic when we lost Coco's mother, the pandemic, us kind of losing our jobs, you know, really not wanting to deal with reality, to be honest, you know, grief, loss, the weirdness of the world, like all at once. And it really allowed us, and specifically me, to binge, to be a binge drinker. You know, I built up this huge tolerance of drinking every day, um, you being a complete stoner, like, and it was just like they went hand in hand, right? And even in that time, I felt like I wasn't necessarily like blacking out. We were at home, right? We were at home, or we're walking around San Francisco. There's cocktails to go, you know, or we're visiting family, you know, Coco's family. And even in that environment, I had to have alcohol there. You know, I had to be smoking. There was this numbness for such a long period of time, which is wild, you know, and it really and we had no shame. I mean, you know, it was like, Matthew, let's go, you know, and we're walking all over the city. Like I was driving in the car drinking, you know, like nobody's on the road. This is fine. You know, we're going to the park. We're going to go on a scenic drive. And it was just kind of like, it was a lot. And then getting here to like West Hollywood, it was for me like starting over, right? And like wanting to have a social scene, or getting back into work and creativity and like doing all these things, but I wasn't sober and I wasn't able to really be successful in the way that I in my mind thought I should be. You know, I wouldn't be able to tackle a task completely. It would be maybe half-ass, or I would doubt myself and not want to finish, or um you know, go on a binger and black out and like, you know, hate myself for the next week, right? And it's crazy to see that the clarity of having sobriety in my life and how it's affected like my family and work, and being able to have connections even with, you know, somebody like you, where like I remember like just finding your page, like finding you through I think I started doing like sobriety posts, And because I get to work in San Francisco and here, I was like looking for someone to tag in San Francisco. And I found your page and I tagged you and then you responded. And I thought that was so sweet. Um, but we ended up having this dialogue of wanting to meet, and also, possibly doing some hair together. But it was like, it was so cool because it's like we're so open, and this time of our lives, it's like there's only space for like positivity, like love, sharing, like community, and even for you to like be so open to like being my friend, talking with me, or like I can leave you tons of messages, and you'll respond, and it's so nice to share that, even though we haven't been able to meet in person. But there's so many gifts, and it's like the creative space within everything, sobriety, family, just, all the work that we do. Like I, I really appreciate like this, this friendship that we have, because you've like given me this sort of like inspiration when I see like how I'm like traveling through like every day. If I'm a year sober, amazing. But it doesn't matter if I stay sober or if I don't. There's always space to keep progressing in life. And it's cool how you really share your point of view, because it doesn't matter if you're in 12 step. It doesn't matter how you tackle it. You're just tackling it. And your voice is like so important.
Well, I just about started crying, so thanks for that. No, it's true, but it's funny you say that because I was looking back at our messages, I think yesterday. I just wanted to go back and look at our first messages. And it is that. It's just this immediate like bond that I have with people who are A, sober, and be creative and kind and open. Like I get that buzz right away. I'm like, yeah, this is my people. This is my people. And I mean, those are my favorite people in the world. Like there's just something that anyone who's done the work, however they've done it, whatever that's looked like, to get sober and find positivity in some of the darkest shit that they've been through. Do you know what I mean? And turn that, alchemize that into something good and put it into the world. I mean, that's what, I don't know. I think maybe that's everything, you know? And yeah, I just want all people like that in my life. I just want to be surrounded by people like that. I want to know people like that. I want to support and platform people like that. I want to be people like that. So yeah, it just makes me emotional because it's like that's exactly why I got on the internet and started talking about this, you know?
Me too. Kristen, how do you thrive in this creative space of like of creative sobriety, and your planning of what you're posting and how you're relating to, a specific topic? Where does it all come from? Because it's super entertaining and it's super educational. And we're like watching them all the time, and it's like I'm like, I have to repost this. Like it's on point.
You know, I wish I had like a very professional, routine that I could share here with everybody. I just try to speak honestly. Like, I try to say things that maybe I was afraid to say when I was drinking, like about the whole experience. Like, hey, I do this because I haven't learned how to love myself enough, like somebody needs to hear that. And like, here's a very specific example of how you might be doing that today, Um, so it's things like that. I just kind of ruminate on these things and write a lot of thoughts down. But sometimes my best posts are literally like I'm doing the most random thing and I'm like, oh my God, that's it. I'm just like, send it off into the ether and it's like everybody loves it. And then I'll spend 2 hours making another post and nobody gives a shit. You know how it is. But yeah, I find it all fascinating. And it keeps me sober. That's the thing, right? Is like flooding myself with this kind of content and keeping up with the news of the alcohol industry and really understanding the marketing and the messaging behind why I drank the way I drank and why I was so opposed to quitting drinking. I thought it was so intrinsic to like a big, joyful, sexy life. So pulling that apart and finding ways to present what I've learned to other people to help them pull it apart is like, I don't know, it just feels like a piece of my purpose now. So like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's so fascinating to read all of that about the alcohol industry on kind of both sides of how their numbers are down, right? And then you read articles about these younger generations that don't really want anything to do with it. You know, they live in this time where it's like, why would I do that? Why isn't my health and like me feeling good like the thing that's being sold to me, right? So then I feel like everything is kind of changing. Because I remember when I was young, it was like being gay and drinking were like hand in hand. You couldn't be one without the other. And it's empowering to live in this time and space because it's like, it's not that, you know, you are making your own lane because the one that you wanted, whatever it is that you wanted to do wasn't there. So it's like, you have to make your own lane. When as a creative, as an artist, we all have to just make our own lanes and believe in it consistently all the time. Even when it doesn't maybe give the numbers, at least we try.
Absolutely. Yeah. You kind of have to get over expecting, you know, everything to hit and everything to be, you know, the same kind of just trajectory like this. Like it's not going to go like that. But yeah, I think trusting, like what you said, trusting that there's someone that needs to see someone like me living this life the same way that there are hundreds, thousands of people watching you guys who need to see you living this life. You know what I mean? To give them permission. It's a permission slip. That's what we are to each other. And so even when the views are down and even when it feels like I'm not creating my best shit, I'm like, yeah, even if one person sees this and it affects them positively, then this is what I'm supposed to be doing and I can handle the lull, you know, whatever it is.
Yeah. I love that because it's all it's about. It's like one person, 5 people, 100 people, 1,000 people. It's like whoever you can change, whoever you can help, whoever that one thing that you said could just change everything for everyone, you know? And it's important to stay in that space, especially people that are like they're fearful of getting online or creating their message or giving their message. It's like there's someone out there that is waiting to hear what you have to say from the way that you're going to say it, because the way that you're going to say it is different from me and him, you know? And that is the sweet spot that we all need to live in.
It is.
And it's such an art to be an artist. Like we all, the most important thing that we can all do, especially people that are artists, is that we just have to like create, believe, and show up and keep doing. Like it is like the most important thing. And I always say this because I believe in this for myself, but like I live in my delusion of whatever it is that I want out of my life, I'm going to get. Even if the road is like boop, 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 I'm still going to get there whenever it's my end goal is this farm, right? No, not the idea of like what I put out, but that is my end goal in all of everything that I do, is this creative space that's a little bit isolated. And to me, from where I come that is delusional. Right?
Yeah.
Because like it wasn't available for me. But now it's like I am going to make that happen in this journey of twists and turns. And
hey, I believe it because I've learned, I mean, because I could be the opposite, right? Where I'm like, this is not going to work at all.
It's balance.
It really is. It really is.
yeah.
We did a reality show like a few years back, and we would be on set, and Coco would just be so wild, like so like extreme on camera. And I was just like, oh my God, he probably should like calm down. Like this is a bit much. And then like I learned so much from that experience, because it's like that was real. Like that was literally what needed to happen. He knew it. I always like had lived in this sort of doubt, right? And I'm like, it's so annoying, and I'm so grateful to be sober, because I get to like calm those things down so much that I can react in a very, calm way. I'm not spinning, I'm not doubting my ideas. I'm not doubting my actions. I'm really like coming from a good place. Um, and being in my relationship with Coco, it's like I learned so much, because he is that visionary, of the farm, this, that. And it's like, and when you see the show, it's like he had some of the funniest scenes that the camera wanted, where I'm like, you were right on the whole time. And I love how you inspire me, because from the day that I met him, he brought me out of my shell in a way where I was like, oh God, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, and it hasn't stopped. It hasn't stopped. It's only allowed me to grow. And, having the crash of abusing alcohol and drugs, it almost took that away. I had this vision of, I'm gonna lose this. This is gonna be taken away. And like, for what? Like, for who? Like, for alcohol, for me, for what my mind says to me while I'm intoxicated. That's why I'm gonna lose like my relationship. Like, that's why I'm gonna lose that spark in me. And it's like there's and it's like, it's crazy, because if you don't see it, and you don't admit it, or you don't, and for me, I needed to do all of those things. Like, I was in trouble. I was abusing, I was destroying myself, and I was destroying everything around me. And it was pretty sad. It was really sad. I've never been so like honest with like my mom, of like, this is not going well, mom. I really need help, and I had this situation with my son Matthew, where like, I couldn't even stop crying in front of him, and he was just like, he's so sweet, and he's so loving, and he's just like, you can do it, like, you got me, and you got us, and everything's gonna be okay. And I'm just like, it could have been so different, and it can easily be so different, right? But it's faith, it's believing in myself, it's believing in in the gift of sobriety, and really, for me, my relation to my higher power, like having God in my life, having a spiritual connection, um has given me all of this.
Yeah. Yeah. I relate to that a lot. I just I trust myself now in a way that I didn't know was possible, right? We create this like self trust when we stay sober and we build new coping skills. And that's a beautiful thing. But yeah, my relationship with God is deepened so much. And I think that's intertwined with everything I do. I think God is creativity, intuition, all of that can now flow freely in my life. And I'm just in constant communion with that, you know? Um, and that shapes everything. It creates a comfort, just a piece of everything is okay. I am okay. Um, but yeah, I listening to you talk about your family, it reminds me of, I don't have that yet, but I trust that staying sober is like always getting me one step closer to it. You know what I mean? For me, the vision I had was like, you can either keep drinking or you can reach your full potential. There's not a third option. You can't have both, so choose. And that was like this crazy like epiphany of, oh my God, I'm going to waste all of my talent, all of my skill, all of my God-given gifts, you know? And so I just couldn't justify it. I couldn't live with just like not knowing how good I could be at something. And also that was part of it too, thinking of like, I'll never have the relationship I dream of. I'll never have an opportunity to love like as deeply and, you know, intentionally as I would like to. And I've had, you know, some ups and downs and in sobriety and relationships. I've gone through some tough stuff, some disappointing things. But I still have me in a way that I never did before. Like people have come and gone, but like I know who I am and I know that I will be okay. And I know that I will continue on and I know that I will find love because I am now actually love, you know? And I don't know. That's kind of cheesy and woo woo, but I really feel that way.
Of the cheesy. I love the woo woo
Same.
because that is all of the goodness of all of this, you
Yeah.
know? And in one of your previous podcasts, you say, you talk about intuition and you talk about intuition like being clogged. And when you said that, it made me think of my own experience and how like there have been fears to take steps because I was hungover or I was exhausted from being hungover or emotionally I did something that night before that I can't even think about the things that I actually want to do because I'm so hurting because of that. I think it's a really beautiful like quote that like your intuition can get clogged by all of this stuff, whether it be alcohol, any of the substances really.
Yeah.
It clogs intuition.
Yeah.
It blocks it. It allows it not to exist in its full potential.
Absolutely. It's an energy exchange, right? It's like the high vibe energy of God source creative energy versus the low vibe energy of drugs, alcohol, and kind of the environment and everything that comes with that. They're at odds. And I feel like I was constantly expecting these beautiful, amazing things to happen in my life while just pouring poison down the pipe, you know? Like, so it's like it can only go so far. So I think when we open that up and we start pouring the positive, like healthy relationships, you know, healing, self-work, knowledge, wisdom, curiosity, you know, kindness, new experiences, you know, that then really like supercharges all the positive stuff to come flowing towards you. It's like, it's a little bit of law of attraction, right? I think.
Yeah. It's like everything you're saying right now, it reminds me of growing up in my family had this saying that they would always say. And I think that it's every single human should like wake up at some point in their day and say this to themselves. It's like, if I can love and respect myself, then I can love and respect other people. Because when we can really do that for ourselves and look at ourselves and be in ourselves and be in our own heads clearly and love that, it's like we can do so much for ourselves and everyone around us. Like you said, energy exchange. It is such a powerful truth, you know?
Yeah. I was like treating myself like absolute garbage and then wondering why all of my relationships failed, wondering why I just couldn't maintain flow in my life. You know, it was such a roller coaster. And it's like, yeah, because I couldn't even take care of myself. How could I take care of another person that I loved or like a really awesome opportunity, you know? Like, and I do think that I was protected. Like, I think there's almost this sense of like, if I had been handed everything I wanted at 25, it'd be gone. Everything. It would be gone. I think I was protected from myself a little bit. There's a divinity in all of this, I think. And it's like handing a kid, a 16-year-old, a Ferrari, you know? What are they going to do? You have to learn some stuff. And I'm so grateful that even though there was some really tough lessons I had to learn and some darkness I had to make my way through, like nothing ended me, you know? I'm still here to really learn from all of that and alchemize that and create something new. But yeah, I'm so grateful. I can't believe I'm 6 years sober. Like,
Amazing.
how did this happen?
Wow. I love the energy here. It's incredible. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, I just hope that you guys both wake up every day and just like live in that, because it's something to like be so like proud of, and it's so many people can't, so many people may want to, and I hope that whoever is listening and whatever that any of us are saying, like that touches you, like there are different ways to live life. It is okay to live in who we are without the things to turn off who we are. We can live there. And that's what I want everyone that's listening to really just take from this, from us, is it is creative to like be our authentic self. That is like the highest level of creativity. So if we can do that, show up, it's like anything is possible,
Totally. And just really the ability to like tap into your creative, the creative that is you sober and just see the magic that it is for itself. I mean, it's a journey worth taking. I wrote a thought that I wanted to share because I'm so excited for people to connect to this conversation. Um, and sobriety has allowed me to access my emotions, develop a response, and take action based on my clarity of thinking. I'm able to interact with people, situations, and my own self without the use of alcohol and drugs. And that has shown me I am strong. I can love. I can be accepted. My anger, my self doubt, my shame no longer can rest here. I'm sober. I have freedom. I have this version of myself that reminds me of childhood. I can handle this now.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. I think too, anyone that's listening, I think we hear a lot about creative artists who struggle with substances, right? Because we're very sensitive people, we're empathetic people, we feel a lot. And I think there's also a pain that comes from feeling like the world isn't allowing you to be an artist. Maybe you haven't made it to the place you want to be with your work and you feel disappointed in that and you're losing time. And I just want to say, like, you get to decide that you're an artist and then you're just an artist. And every single day you get to wake up and create. And there's no one outside of you that can make or take that away from you. So I think I had a lot of pain I was carrying, and a big catalyst for my drinking was just thinking I wasn't far enough along. I wasn't, big enough and successful enough in all of these endeavors. And sobriety has allowed me to just rest in the authentic version of myself that is innately creative. And you get to be that. So I just want anyone listening, you can just decide today that you are an artist and no one ever gets to take that away from you. And sobriety will certainly not take away your creativity. It will make you more of everything. You will tap into more of that and you will have a follow through that you don't have when you're drinking all the time.
I love it. So true. Like,
Thank you both.
thank you so much. Like, I love how you said that. And like, to be honest, we had a couple of dates planned for the podcast and I've been so like down since the beginning of the year. And there's so much chaos in the world where it's like, even the positivity, I'm just like, I don't really know, like I don't even know how to do this right now. But when we changed the dates a couple times, I was like, yeah, I think that's for the best. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to really get like my positivity back and that creative. And you're right. It's like if you're an artist, you're an artist, and we just gotta get up. We have to keep creating. And I'm so thankful for this moment because it's like I'm finally glad that we arrived, and it doesn't matter what's going on in the world. Your voice is so important. So is yours. So is mine. The purpose is to connect, like you said, connect, support, create, I value all of that, and I'm glad I'm getting up. I'm glad I'm just changing my frame of mind, and I'm so like happy like right now.
And I mean, I know that, yeah, I agree to all of those things. This was what was supposed to happen. I mean, last time you were having like snowstorms, there's probably still snow there.
Y'all,
Too many things, you know?
the last month was crazy. I was literally stuck at my dad's house for a week. I mean, there's still, I can't leave. I'm back at my house now. I can't leave because my road is frozen solid. So we're still making it, but it's just been, yeah, nothing has gone to plan for me this year. So
Right, that part.
everything is off. The energy is horrible as collectively. Okay. Like, hello. That's obviously putting it very lightly. But yeah, it's okay. I think we just like, this is a good reminder. This is what we can do. You know, this is what we can always do is like remind each other you're beautiful, you're amazing, you are loved, you are necessary, you are doing good work, you know, you are worthy of all the goodness in the world. Keep going, keep going. It matters, you know. It's a reminder that I needed to. So thank you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Where can everyone find you? Because I know people are gonna be like, I need to find this. I need to do this.
Well,
I need
please
to-"
do. Please come find me. I am on the Instagram at Creative Sobriety. I'm also on Substack, which I would love for you to come find me on Substack. I write all kinds of stuff on there. Kind of narrative nonfiction, memoir type stuff, and then more journalistic pieces on the alcohol industry and kind of what's going on. So find me on Substack, Kristen Bear, Creative Sobriety. And then my podcast. I have a podcast called Creative Sobriety too. And I'm gonna get you guys on there. So we'll have to figure that out.
Yes.
But I really wanted to end with this. We have this calendar that I want to send you. It has a quote for every day. And it's artists out of San Francisco. And it's so amazing that we're here today because the quote on there was, "How creative can you get?" That was the quote from today. And usually they're not creative, like focused at all. It's like, love yourself, like, you know, drink water, you know, things like that. So I love that today was that.
That's interesting. How creative can you get? Can you make everything you do today creative? Sure you can.
On that note, you are too many things. We are too many things.
I mean, Kristen's way too many things.
In all the best ways.
And I love it.
So let's be
Too many things.
together.
Kristen, thank you so much. Creative Sobriety in the house. We love you.